The YouTube comment section is frequently a hot button issue. People always talk about how they try to avoid looking at comments. Comments made them depressed because of how evil and mean people are. And while being at the center of vitriolic hatred is unpleasant to say the least, I view the comment section of YouTube as sort of a necessary evil because I think comments are essential to what makes YouTube as a platform engaging and entertaining to be a part of, because it connects people from all over the world, and depending on what you're doing on YouTube, it connects people from all over the world with different perspectives on things.
This is why you're a retard.
Stuff like that is not going to be at the center of this video because I find it very simplistic. After you hear that stuff a certain amount of times, it's sort of just, you shrug it off. You know, wipe it away. It's just somebody lashing out because you offended them in some way, and they really have nothing to say in regard to how you offended them, so their first instinct is just to insult you or to say something horrible. So that stuff, whatever. I don't care about that stuff. And of course, there's great things too. People agreeing with you always feels good. People starting discussions about things, whether they like the movie that you're talking about or not. That kind of thing I'm completely fine with. Things like this I'm not going to be talking about in this video because it's already been talked about to death. I'm going to be talking about very specific comments that I've been getting since my very first video over 2 years ago. And these comments that I've selected are my most hated comments, I think, across the board. I absolutely despise seeing these comments, and every time I see them or read them, it makes me irrationally angry because of how obnoxious they are. So there's just a handful here that I'm going to talk about. There's no real particular order to whether I hate one the most or one the least. I just find all of these obnoxious in some way or another, and I will explain why I feel that way as we go through this. So let's start with this one.
The main question is, why did you watch it in the first place if you weren't excited for it and don't care about the subject matter anyway?
Comments like this I find annoying, where people are saying you shouldn't have watched it if you weren't interested, or why did you watch it if you didn't care? Stuff like that I find really annoying because it's like this incredibly simplistic view of things. In what I'm doing here on YouTube would be incredibly boring if it was just me talking about things that I was interested in. I think it makes more sense for me to go and get out of my comfort zone and view things that I normally wouldn't or don't care about. There's been plenty of movies out there that I have no interest in that I've absolutely loved, and there's plenty of movies out there that I had a lot of interest in that I absolutely hated. It's not this black and white thing that a lot of people seem to try and make it out to be. If you're interested in it, then you're gonna like it. If you're not, then you're not, so don't see it. I find that a very reductive view of movies and life in general. If you never get out of your comfort zone, then you're never gonna find things that you find interesting.
Finally, an honest review.
Next one is sort of a positive comment, and you probably wouldn't think I'd have an issue with it, but I do. This type of comment where somebody says, finally an honest review, or I'm glad you're being honest, you're the only person being honest. I find that annoying. Like, of course, I'm happy that you agree with me. I'm happy that you found my video, but why are you saying that I'm being honest? What makes me different than somebody else that liked it or disliked something that I liked or disliked? What makes that different? Why would somebody liking Aladdin per se be less honest than me disliking it? It just, to me, comes across kind of like naive, where somebody is saying, I agree with you, so that person's being honest, and I disagree with this person, so they're being dishonest. And that's not to say that that's 100% the case. There are obviously people that are probably going to put out something where they might not be giving their honest opinion for views, for money, for attention, that sort of thing, and that happens. People are dishonest about things all the time, and it's not black and white to whether someone's being dishonest either, though. Like, you can't just lump things into two categories and expect that to be how it always is.
How often does this dude have anything positive to say, LMAO?
This is another one that I find mildly annoying. This isn't one that gets under my skin particularly, but I do find it mildly obnoxious when somebody says you don't like anything or you had never have anything positive to say, because that's just not true. That's just people, again, lashing out in a way that's just kind of annoying. I have a whole playlist dedicated to this very thing right here. I'll put it right here. the cheekily named the You Hate Everything playlist, in which I have a bunch of videos of me talking positively about a bunch of different movies. So no, I don't hate everything. I don't dislike everything. I have positive things to say, and I do try to make a fair amount of videos where I have positive things to say.
$350 million in 3 days, yeah, it sucks.
Okay, this might be my least favorite comment. I know I said I didn't really have an order, but I just despise this point of view. I think it is an incredibly shallow point of view. You can't just say that a movie's success or a movie's credibility is earned off of its number. You can't say that a movie is great because it made money or didn't make money. That's such a shallow point of view to have. By that same logic, you're saying that Avatar or Avengers Endgame or Titanic are the 3 greatest movies of all time simply because they made the most money ever. Like, that's stupid. Of course that's not the case. I'm sure there are people that think that these 3 movies are the best movies ever, but I'm also sure that the people that think they're the best movies ever don't think that they are because of how much they made. They probably think that they are the best movies ever for very different reasons. For how they look, how they feel, how it makes the person react. This point of view is not shared by anybody, and yet I see it so often. Stop judging a movie's value based on its overall box office gross. That is such an obnoxious, reductive point of view.
Well, this guy knows nothing about the character/cartoon/comics.
You don't always have to have a perspective on things before seeing something. That is why I love movies, because it can open your eyes into a completely different world that you didn't even expect to like, that you probably would really like. Saying that you have to know something about something before you go see it is stupid. Stop it. I don't have to read every Suicide Squad comic to go see Suicide Squad. A, that's incredibly time-consuming and pointless, and B, that's the movie's job. If a movie wants to get a wide audience, if it wants to draw people in, then it should be the one to explain the world, the characters, what's happening. You shouldn't make a movie where you expect everyone to know what they're getting into beforehand, because then you'll get a sliver of people that actually understand and like it, and everyone else will hate it because they don't know what's happening. You have to explain things. You have to set things up. You have to establish things. You have to make people that are seeing it understand what's going on.
The show was amazing. This guy needs to go back to watching Marvel.
This is one that I think goes both ways, where if I don't like a Marvel movie, then people will say, just go back to watching your stupid artsy movies because that's all you like. Or when I don't like an artsy movie, then people say, ooh, go back to Marvel because you're just an idiot shill. I hate that. I hate that kind of gatekeeping mentality where it's like, this thing, I love it, and because you don't love it, it means that you're lower than me. I find that view very ridiculous. Why do people even think this way? Why do people think that because I liked Guardians of the Galaxy, then I can't like something along the lines of the Phantom Thread? That's stupid. And why would somebody that likes the Phantom Thread be incapable of liking something from Marvel? That's dumb. That's a dumb way of thinking. Of course you can like both. Of course there are people that like Marvel just because it's cool to like them, and of course there are people that like some independent movie but because it's independent. Both sides have mindless people, and both sides have gatekeepers, and I find them both very obnoxious. So just allow people to like what they like. Allow people to dislike what they dislike. You can start an argument about it. You can debate about it. You can say that I like this and you don't, so here's why I disagree with you. That's fine, but don't say that I can't like something because I like something else. That's stupid.
What cracks me up is this kid watched this as if he expected it to be a masterpiece. I actually thought it would be much worse than it was and enjoyed it as a result.
You can like something where it's like, oh, this is just a fun turn off your brain popcorn movie. That's fine. I don't care. I have plenty of those guilty pleasure type movies, but to say that you have too high expectations out of something and that's why you didn't like it is annoying. I mean, John Wick can be a masterpiece. You can make a movie like that a masterpiece. You can make a Star Wars movie a masterpiece. There are ways where you can make any type of movie a masterpiece. But people don't expect these types of movies to be masterpieces. And the question I have is why? Why don't we expect more out of these movies? Why don't we expect more out of Marvel, out of DC, out of Transformers, out of these franchises? Because there are ways to make them better, and yet people still are saying, you're expecting too much out of them. Why can't there be characters? Why can't there be a story? Why can't there be good filmmaking? You can expect this. And when it doesn't happen, you should be angry because it's a cop-out, it's lazy, it's a cash grab, and I think it's okay to call these people out. It's almost like you're defending people's laziness. So let's be done with that. So that's it, that's all I really have to say. I don't expect the comments to stop just because I said don't do them anymore. I mean, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen on this video. People are gonna put these comments on this video just to poke fun at me, but I find these comments very, very annoying, and I did want to talk about it because I don't know, maybe somebody can get something out of this. I don't know. Just felt like talking about it. That's it. Bye.